For this mock exercise, we're going to take a look at framework, financial statement framework, presentation, and usage. But before we actually do the actual question, let's take a look at some of the characteristics of information. So, first of all, the purpose of external financial reporting is to communicate and provide information to external users for decision-making purposes. So it's oftentimes is what our job is when we're preparing these financial statements is to communicate the activities, the financial state, the financial position of the company at a particular point in time. And it's often for decision-making, whether it's a lending decision, is it an investing decision, etc., is essentially the main objective. Now, the information that we're reporting and we're communicating has certain qualities. And we categorize the qualities into primary and secondary qualitative characteristics. So in the primary category, information must be relevant and faithfully represented. And relevance means is that the information that we're providing has to be relevant for decision making, which means it has to be timely, i.e., it has to be provided in a timely manner. It has to have predictive value, so it allows readers to be able to assess and predict what's going to happen to the company's financial position, for example. And the information that we're given also has feedback value, ability for the decision makers to assess the information and give them feedback on their original assumptions or assessment. So that's what relevance means. Faithful representation, essentially what that means is that you want to make sure that the statement or the information provided are accurate, unbiased, and verifiable. Okay? Unbiased means is that it's actually presented in a way that isn't overstating or understating. It's presenting what the realities are of the financial position of that company. And the fact that it's verifiable means that anybody who looks at the same set of evidence comes to the same conclusion. It's verifiable, it's supported by some sort of documentation. Those are called what we call primary qualitative characteristics. Secondary characteristics are things like comparability, consistency, and understandability. Comparability is essentially the way we disclose and measure and record is comparable across different businesses. So for example, if we were to prepare a financial statement of an airline company, we would want to make sure that the accounting policy that we've chosen is one that is comparable, similar to other airlines in the same industry. Okay, so that's why it's comparable. And that's important because as reader of the information, as decision maker, they want to be able to compare the operating results of that company. And we want to be able to showcase how our results are in comparison to other companies using the same set of accounting policies. Consistency, it means that whatever policies we've chosen, we want to make sure that when we measure, report, and record these transactions based on accounting policy, it's consistent, it's the same over time. So that decision makers can look at the trend, can look at financial results over the past few 5, 6, 7 years and look at trending information. And of course, want to make sure that our information that we provided is understandable. That means people understand what you're trying to communicate. So these are the principles of communicating useful information. We want to make sure that these information that we provide has both primary and secondary qualitative characteristics. Let's take a look at a question. So in this question, it's theoretical and it's asking us to match. So these are the qualitative characteristics of information, and we're going to match it based on the statements below. Okay. So the first one is accounting information cannot be selected, prepared, or presented to favor one set of interest users over another. And that is a quality of neutrality. So it's neutral, unbiased. Okay, so I'm going to put number 2 in that one. So that is neutrality. That means that whatever we're doing, however we're measuring, however we're selecting and preparing the information to decision makers, it has to be unbiased. Can't favor one set of interest over another. B, accounting information must be available to the decision maker before it loses its ability to influence their decision. And that is an example of timeliness. That means that we want to be able to give information to the decision maker before it becomes stale data, before it becomes irrelevant to their decision-making process. So an example of that would be perhaps disclosing a lawsuit. Even though the lawsuit hasn't actually, we haven't actually resolved the lawsuit, but it's important for decision makers to have this information on a timely manner so that they can make their own investment or it can influence their decision-making process. So that's an example of disclosing a lawsuit, for example, prior to the settlement of that lawsuit because it's relevant to the decision maker. Now C is accounting information is prepared on the assumption that users have a reasonable understanding of accounting and a general business and economic condition, and that is the assumption of understandability. So there's a segment, there's a piece in our qualitative characteristics that we have to assume that readers of our statements have some basic foundation or reasonable understanding of accounting, and they have to have a good general understanding of the business, general economic and business conditions. Number D, it says, accounting information provides a basis to evaluate a previously made decision. Okay, a previously made decision, that is called feedback value. So we want to be able to provide information that either confirms or helps us evaluate whether our assumptions in the past has been, any previously made decisions or assumptions that we made have been confirmed based on the way we provided information. So information must have feedback value. Okay. E, accounting information reports the economic substance, not the legal form of the transaction. Okay. That is called faithful representation. Okay, we want to make sure that the information we provide, okay, is in essence the substance of the transaction, it's the realities of what happened in the business, and we want to make sure that it is accurate depiction of the economic substance of the transaction. It has to be unbiased, and it has to be verifiable as well. F, accounting information helps users make predictions about outcome of past, present, and future, and that is called predictive value. Again, not only the information we provide to readers allow readers or decision makers to predict, okay, the outcome, but it also allows them feedback value so that any assumptions they made in the past is able to be supported by that set of information. So that's called feedback value and predictive value. G, accounting information about one company can be valued by comparing it to accounting information of another company. That is called comparability. We want to make sure that our financial statement, our earnings, if we're comparing different companies within the same industry, the earnings comparison that we're making to judge which company is stronger or has a better performance cannot be clouded by different accounting policies chosen by different companies. So we want to make sure that the information of one company can be evaluated by ensuring that they have comparability or comparable financial accounting policies. In H, all of the accounting information that is necessary to faithfully represent economic reality is included, and that one is called completeness. So we want to make sure that whatever information we provide to our readers, it has to faithfully represent. It has to essentially represent what is the economic realities, and we have to make sure that we present it in a complete manner. We can't tell them part of the story. We've got to tell them the whole entire story so that decision makers can make their own decisions. I, accounting information is free of error and bias. Okay, and that is 3, verifiable. Okay, and finally, accounting information in a company is prepared using the same principles from year to year, and that is consistency. So we want to make sure that we don't change. For example, we don't change our depreciation policy each year so that it prevents decision makers to compare results year over year to see how well the company has trended or tracked. Okay? Thank you.